Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Does this movie affect the timeline in any way of the ship and of the crew? Does it hurt the canon of this franchise? This is the question that I want to pose to all of you today. And at the same time, I have some other observations that I would like to make about this movie. Now, before we get deep into the conversation, I also would like to inform all of you that I am not here to attack this movie. This is just things that I have noticed, and I wanted to bring my observations out to you. I'm a big Star Trek fan, and this particular movie here, I probably saw it in the movie about 6 or 7 times, and I never get bored watching it. But now I want to get into this video and discuss what I believe may be a problem. Then again, it may not be, but that's why I'm asking for your comments, my friends.
Enterprise arriving Bay 4.
Commander West, control shuttle. First shuttle departs in 10 minutes. Dock 3.
Now, I know that this particular scene here has been debated since the movie came out in '84. But everybody still wants to know, where did all this damage come from? As you can see, there's damage even on the engines, when in the Wrathicon there was no damage at all. When I did my research into this, I found out that Leonard Nimoy decided he wanted the ship to look worn down, beaten, a former shadow of itself, if you want to go with that statement right there. He wanted to give the audience the impression that this ship needed to retire. But as you can see here, from the beginning of the search for Spock, that same engine, there is no damage on her at all. No damage at all. And at the end of the Wrathicon, there was no damage to the starboard side of the ship at all. So the question is, why alter this? Why change it around at all? But that's not really the issue I have. The issue is coming right up.
You have all done remarkable service under the most difficult conditions. You'll be receiving Starfleet's highest commendation. And more importantly, extended shore leave. That is all but you, Mr. Scott. They need your wisdom on the new Excelsior. Report there tomorrow as Captain of Engineering.
With all appreciation, sir, I prefer to supervise the refit of Enterprise.
I'm afraid that won't be necessary.
But, sir...
I'm sorry, Mr. Scott, but there will be no refit.
Admiral, I don't understand. The Enterprise is not...
Jim, the Enterprise is 20 years old. We feel her day is over.
The Enterprise is 20 years old? Well, maybe this one is, but not the one that just docked its back at Earth. No, that one's only 12, 13 years old at the most. According to StarTrek.com and the history of NCC 1701, Enterprise, the original, and an article I found dated from March of 22 of last year, the Constitution-class Enterprise returned to Earth on or around the year of 2269 for a retrofit. And around 2272, 73, again, depending on where you get your information from, either StarTrek.com or from this article I mentioned, CBR, the Enterprise, completing its retrofit, launched on its first mission, Star Trek the Motion Picture, to go find or deal with V'ger. So my question to all of you is Admiral Memora wrong in saying that the Enterprise is 20 years old? This is not the same ship that returned to Earth. It is a completely different Enterprise from the outside all the way in. Completely different look, different feel. Everything about her is upgraded. The body and everything inside. So how can this thing be considered 20 years old?
You personally are assuming command?
Yeah.
May I ask why?
My experience. 5 years out there dealing with unknowns like this. My familiarity with the Enterprise, its crew.
Admiral, this is an almost totally new Enterprise. You don't know her a tenth as well as I do.
That's
A Google search describes a retrofit as an act of adding components or accessories to something that did not have it when manufactured. This was not added. This was a complete remodel. So for the Admiral to come out and claim that this ship is 20 years old is completely wrong. And on that note, if we go by what the Admiral says, then this is the ship that should have encountered Khan.
What do you want with us? Sir, I demand of you...
You are in a position to demand nothing, sir. I, on the other hand, am in a position to grant nothing. What you see is all that remains of the ship's company and crew of the Botany Bay, marooned here 15 years ago by Captain James T. Kirk.
According to StarTrek.com, the Enterprise encountered the Reliant in 2285. 2285. So, based on the Admiral's comments about the Enterprise being 20 years old, if you subtracted 2285 from the year that the Enterprise returned to Earth, 2269, that is 16 years. 16 years. So in other words, this ship, the new version of the NCC 1701, should have been the one that met up with the Botany Bay. Unless, of course, I am completely misunderstanding this, but I don't think I am. A retrofit, to me, doesn't mean you completely rebuild the ship from the inside out. You add to the inside. But that's not what happened here. Now, I may be wrong on that, and that's why I'm asking for your thoughts and your comments on this, because this one's really got me going. Okay, so I'm going to end the video right here. I really, as I said before, would like to hear your thoughts, your comments on this. I personally believe that this is not a 20-year-old vessel. The one on the screen is, yes, of course, but the Enterprise from Star Trek 3 was not a 20-year-old vessel. A retrofit of that magnitude is basically rebuilding the ship. And I probably could have accepted the argument that they didn't want to repair the ship because the damage was too extensive, but they went with the idea that the ship was 20 years old. So again, give me your thoughts, your comments. I really want to hear about this one. So please drop your thoughts and your comments below and let me know. And until the next time, my friends, God bless.